No doubt that you're here today because you're planning on taking a trip to Japan in the very near future. Ah, Japan. The land where slurping is polite. There's many cultural differences that should be noted before you go on this trip. I'm going to talk about some of them today. First, we'll start off with food. Obviously, they don't eat exactly the same food that we do here. Their food is more based on rice and noodles and meat and salads. But don't get fooled. Just because that's what their culture bases their food on does not mean that there is not a McDonald's on every other block in Tokyo. Also, make note that they do not actually eat dogs or dolphins. That is a crude stereotype that is just not true in the least bit. So, Japanese don't eat dogs. Next, we're going to talk about etiquette. There's a lot of things that could be considered very rude in Japan. One, pointing. This right here is very rude. In Japan, if you need to point something out, you use your whole hand. So you're not as to be pointing with your index finger. Whole hand, and you'll be alright. Number two, bowing. If you're going and you meet somebody of higher status than you, such as a company executive or a lawyer, when you're first meeting them, it would be very polite for you to bring your hands up to your head and just take a quick bow. Alright? Nothing like this. Just a quick one, and you're good. Another thing that would be very impolite of you to do is nose blowing. You don't blow your nose in public in Japan. You just don't do it. Sniffing is alright. Everybody has to sniff, but you do not blow your nose in public. You will get some stares like no other. Also, another thing that a lot of Americans have problems with in Japan are cell phones. In Japan, texting is the number one way to use a cell phone. They very much frown upon people that you can hear on their cell phone. Let's say that you're in McDonald's. It is very impolite for you to be on your cell phone talking loudly. If you're just talking real quietly, they might not have anything to say about it, but speaking loudly is not a good thing in Japan on your cell phone. Texting is the best way to go about that. Another thing that is actually very polite in Japan is something I mentioned at the beginning of my speech, and that is slurping. Slurping shows the chef of your food that it's good. Believe it or not, that's the way it is. They like to hear the slurping. It's like saying, "Good food, Mom," on Thanksgiving. Some other things are the celebrations. There is the Lantern Festival, in which the Japanese look at the lanterns as almost as if they're wishing on something. They consider them to be good luck, almost like a Blarney Stone of Ireland. They just see the lanterns as good luck. Another thing would be the Chinese New Year, in which there is a giant parade, not much unlike our New Year's parade, but they celebrate dragons, and every year they have a new piece of the zodiac that becomes that year's zodiac symbol. Another thing would be Valentine's Day. Now, Valentine's Day is interesting because in America, we look at Valentine's Day as the guy goes out, he buys flowers for the woman, and he buys candy for the woman, and he takes the woman out. Well, in Japan, ladies, it's the opposite. So, I don't know. I don't disagree with that entirely. That should happen at least once every 2 years. We can do that bi-yearly. Anyways, in conclusion, we've covered a lot of the major differences in culture and etiquette and food between Japan and America. This isn't everything you need to know, but is definitely a great start. Have a safe and fun trip.